In today's video, we have lots of things going on. We get to visit Arlington Cemetery, where we see the Eternal Flame, JFK's grave, Tomb of the Unknown Soldier, and Changing of the Guard. Then we were off to the National Mall, where we were given free time and could choose whichever Smithsonian Museum that we wanted to go to, or do whatever we wanted to with our time. There were lots of things that I wanted to do and see, but there were so many people that were there due to the cherry blossoms that I could not really take in as much as I wanted to. So we actually ended up spending most of our time outside and exploring, and we did get to see the Hope Diamond and a few other exhibits, but most of our time was outside walking and going to look at the Washington Monument. We were supposed to get 4 hours here, but we got cut down to 2 hours. Now, on to the video. Good morning, good morning, good morning from Herndon, Virginia. I believe today is day 4 of our Washington, D.C. trip, and I believe we are supposed to be going back into Washington, D.C. today. Now, on to breakfast. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you today?
Fat and sassy. How about yourself?
About the same.
Can I share what I was laughing about, Mama? So yesterday when we was at the Capitol, notice I didn't wait for her to answer. Yesterday when we was at the Capitol, she kept going, Shauna, Shauna, what are they doing? What are they doing? And I said, just ignore them, just ignore them. But what's it all about?
Well, I still don't know. Oh, well.
They were protesting against infant circumcision. Didn't really pay a whole lot of attention because my focus was on videoing like the Capitol and the trees and stuff. But I believe it was both.
Figure it out.
So was she. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Did we get a good night's rest?
Billy went to sleep when he got married.
He did. So, Billy, do you feel good and rested?
Yes, ma'am.
Ready to do another day of it?
Ready to go out there and fight them bulls. Matador.
Well, I hope we don't come across any.
I hope.
Good morning, Mr. Campbell. Did you get a good night's rest?
Oh, yes.
You was asleep before you even got off the bus, almost, wasn't you?
I think I slept all day long.
Did you just sleepwalk on up to the room?
Well,
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Are you feeling better today, Ken?
Well, I never felt bad.
Just
What's the problem?
So is all that calmed down?
Oh, yeah.
Good, good, good. Maybe we'll have lots of fun today to make up for yesterday.
Dinner till this morning I had 4 crackers and she brought a pack of peanut butter up there and I ate that.
When you said crackers, that's not the word I thought you were going to use. Sorry. So you was able to eat breakfast this morning. Good.
I didn't even know. I'm afraid to.
Good morning. Good morning. Go back this side so I can see you guys. Good morning. Have y'all recuperated from yesterday?
No. We're ready to go today.
Awesome. I went back to the room to get my sunglasses, and my key wasn't working. It doesn't work on room 325 because we are staying in room 225. I was on the wrong floor, but I got my glasses finally. So the hotel has a reuse policy where they try to encourage people to reuse their linens, I guess to save on water and make things last longer. But I went and got some extra towels and washcloths so that we can have fresh linens for in the morning. Okay, I'm beginning to question if I got enough sleep. I've got my cooler bag on my shoulder, and I was reaching around the back trying to grab the other strap for my backpack. But the cooler bag does not have one like a backpack does. Alright, I think we're going to head to the bus. More adventures await us. Love the matching shirts. And how much were the sodas? Was it $4.95? Oh,
$4.99 with tax.
Oh, wow. So I don't blame you for not getting one.
So we're going back to Tennessee to buy our sodas.
I agree.
My prayers for you, through all of life's changing seasons and the wisdom they bestow, may you have love and joy always, a song in your heart, and peace within your soul. Sally.
Thank you, Miss Sally. And it's pretty on that side, too.
He shook the hand of President Nixon.
It's awesome. All right.
Did they say he was a color guard under President Nixon?
Well, President Nixon came on the ship and he stuck his hand out and he said, "You're supposed to be standing here, still." But he said, "What do you do when the president wants to shake your hand? You shake his hand."
And so we're going to be a solid white. Look at that purple flowers.
Our ticket to get into Arlington National Cemetery.
Got a ticket to.
I thought it smelled pretty good. So the bus parked 2 spots down from us is from Woodbury, Tennessee. How about that? Go all the way to Washington, D.C. and find a vehicle the next county over. Buses after buses after buses. Miss Janice, are you getting scolded for your shoes?
Yes. Come on, honey.
So was she calling those tripping shoes instead of walking shoes?
Instead of good walking shoes. Mary.
At least you look good, right, Janice?
Hey, them toes is looking real good. Fine and fine.
We need to get a picture of you with those flowers before we leave.
Judy, get over there in them purple flowers.
Shoes on today, not tripping shoes. Those are pretty.
I can see that. They're already inside because of
Marble steps. Is that
Sitting down on the job.
sitting down on the job? Is that marble cool on the tushy?
Gotta get it like this.
It means it takes away the kneading of the dabbing.
Takes away the kneading of the dabbing cream. You got a ticket to ride, but you do care.
I do care. I do care. They did. Remember his mohawk? I loved it.
Oh Lord,
Oh.
I did not.
You didn't like his mohawk?
No, I had to
You had to
shave
shave
that
it?
on the. No.
I think we know you guys.
Tennessee.
You guys look familiar. There's Miss Tina. Hi. Oops. What? Trying to follow the arrows. Look at the daffodils.
Get on the next vehicle that's coming through the area.
Butter and eggs.
20 minutes. The first stop on the tour will be for the grave marker of 35th President John Fitzgerald Kennedy. His grave marker is marked by the eternal flame. Stop number 2 is going to be for the Memorial Amphitheater, where you will be able to view the tomb of the unknown soldier and witness the changing of the guard. Changing of the guard will occur every hour at the top of the hour. And stop number 3 will be for Arlington House. Arlington National Cemetery is still a working cemetery. Monday through Friday, anywhere from 10 to 30. Funerals will take place on the cemetery grounds on Saturdays, anywhere from 5 to 10 funerals. No funerals on federal holidays. No funerals on Sundays. Here's part of their retirement package. Each grave marker is issued by the Department of Veterans Affairs. Each one is carved out of Vermont marble. Each one weighs 230 pounds. Each one stands a total of 42 inches in height, but only 24 inches show above ground. They're 14 inches wide, 4 inches thick, And the name of the person that was in service to our country will be etched onto the front facade of the grave marker with all of their pertinent information, name and rank, and date of birth, date of death, any medals or commendations they were awarded while on active duty, as well as the state or country to which they are indigenous, and in some cases their religious affiliation. President Kennedy was not originally intended to be buried at Arlington. Originally, he was intended to be buried in the Kennedy family crypt in Brookline, Massachusetts, at the insistence of his parents. The caretaker giving him the tour. It's so beautiful I could stay here forever. Veterans Day. 2 weeks prior to his assassination, he was here to lay a wreath and to give a speech at the tomb of the unknown soldier. And he was accompanied by his brother Bobby and his press secretary Pierre Salinger. And he told them both at the same time, it's so beautiful I could stay here forever. With that in mind, when the Kennedy family heard this, they relented in their objections to President Kennedy's being buried here. Now, President Kennedy's grave marker is marked by the eternal flame.
He gets lost, he gets lost. They're big boys, they need to be trapped. That's all there was.
Children, the ones that died at birth, who were reinterred here. Jacqueline Kennedy was a student at George.
At JFK's gravesite, the eternal flame is designed to burn continuously by using a system that constantly reignites if extinguished. It is fueled by natural gas piped in with a constantly flashing electric spark near the nozzle tip that reignites the gas if the flame is put out by wind, rain, or anything else.
RFK. Sirhan. That's who killed him. He tried to get out of prison last year. Ted Kennedy.
Joseph Kennedy Jr.
Confederates here. That, you know, I tell you, I'm going to give you a little clue. If you want to know if you're looking at a Confederate.
Here's a verse with the brown bark that's about. Do you hear?
Okay, thank you. You're handy to have around.
Cemetery ground, the other one is in front of Arlington House, and each flag on each flagpole will be lowered to have staff 1/2 hour prior to the first funeral of the day. The flags will remain flying at half staff until 1/2 hour after the final funeral of the day. Both flags will then be restored to full staff before they are both fully lowered at sunset. At its base, and behind that oak tree with the chain link at its base is the grave marker, one of the most highly decorated enlisted soldiers of World War II, Major Audie Murphy.
Audie Murphy was an American actor, songwriter, and soldier. He was the most decorated American combat soldier of World War II and has been described as the most highly decorated enlisted soldier in the U.S. history. Coins left on a tombstone are a sign of respect and honor for the deceased. The tradition can be traced back to ancient times. It is especially common on military grave sites. Meaning of coins. Penny is a visit to pay respects. Nickel, the visitor and deceased served together at boot camp. Dime, the visitor and deceased served together in some capacity. Quarter, the visitor was present when the deceased died. In ancient times, coins were left to help deceased pay a ferryman to cross the river Styx to the afterlife. During the Vietnam War, leaving a coin became a way to show respect without getting into political arguments. The tradition is now considered a way for the public to honor those who died serving the country.
Boy, these trees have some history. Looks like they have some battle wounds. It's hard to believe that one's still hanging on.
The Memorial Amphitheater has 3 major events each year, that being Easter, Memorial Day, and Veterans Day. By the early 1900s, the crowds quickly outgrew the Memorial Amphitheater, so in 1913, Congress passed legislation authorizing construction of the new Memorial Amphitheater. It was signed into law by one of only 2 presidents that was buried at Arlington Cemetary, and that was William Howard Taft.
View from top of the stairs. Over there's Audie's grave.
In 1915, Woodrow Wilson placed the cornerstones. A copper box is placed in the cornerstone, said to contain copies of the Bible, Declaration of Independence, and the Constitution, and the U.S. flag, along with other items. I guess that's kind of like a time capsule. Arlington National Cemetery Memorial Amphitheater was dedicated on May 15, 1920. The Tomb of the Unknown Soldier is made of marble and has stood atop a hill overlooking Washington, D.C. since 1921. The tomb has provided a final resting place for one of America's unidentified soldiers, as well as a place of mourning and reflection. Through the ages, one of the consequences of warfare has been large numbers of unidentified dead. Sometimes unidentified remains resulted from poor record keeping, the damage that weapons of war inflicted on bodies, and the haste required to bury the dead and mark grave sites. In the United States prior to the Civil War, unidentified remains were often buried in mass graves. During the Civil War, high casualty rates and lack of personal identification led to large numbers of unknowns originally buried along marching routes and battlefields. The system of national cemeteries was established in 1862 to ensure the proper burial of all service members. During World War I, U.S. service members received aluminum identification discs, which were the precursors of what are known now as dog tags, to aid in the process of identifying the remains. The War Department created a new unit in the Quartermaster Corps, the Graves Registration Service, to oversee burials. In March of 1926, soldiers were assigned to guard the tomb of the unknown soldier, but at that time they were only doing it during daylight hours. In 1937, the guards became a 24/7 presence, standing watch over the unknown soldier at all times. Soldiers who volunteer to become tomb guards must undergo a strict selection process and intensive training. The guard marches 21 steps down the black mat behind the tomb, turns and faces east for 21 seconds, turns and faces north for 21 seconds, and then takes 21 steps down the mat. Next, the guard executes a sharp shoulder arms movement to place his or her weapon on the shoulder closest to the visitor, signifying that he or she stands between the tomb and any possible threat. The number 21 symbolizes the highest symbolic military honor that can be bestowed, the 21-gun salute. The tomb currently holds the remains of 3 unidentified American service members, but originally there were 4 bodies, but one of them was later identified and exhumed. The changing of the guard occurs every hour on the hour from October 1st to March 31st, and every half hour on the hour and 30 minutes past the hour from April 1st to September 30th. It is a continuous 24-hour, 365-day-a-year ceremony. The tomb of the unknown soldier has been guarded continuously, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, regardless of the weather, since 1937. The clicking of the heels of the soldiers is a symbolic gesture of respect for the fallen. The clicking also serves as a visual and auditory signal, helping them maintain precision and synchronicity during the ceremony.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? I am Sergeant Smith, of the 3rd Infantry Regiment, United States Army. Guard of Honor, Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. The ceremony that you are about to witness is the changing of the guard. In keeping with the dignity of the ceremony, it is requested that everyone remain silent and standing. Thank you. Out! Forward! Out! 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 Ready? Raise! Raise it! Out! 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 Ready? Raise! Pass on your orders.
Post and orders. Remain as directed. Orders. Acknowledged.
Ready? Raise! Raise it! Out! Right shoulder out. Pose. Right face. Forward! Out!
Gorgeous flowers. Look at those beautiful daffodils or buttercups or whatever you want to call them. Those flowers are beautiful.
Today?
They trained 6 months to 9 months to do that. And that's the Canadian Cross of Sacrifice.
Finally in there, that pathway there, there's 3 stone tablets there. And it's got a metal plaques on the front of them. The 2 on either end are memorials of the 2 space shuttle disasters. The Columbia and the Challenger, where all the astronauts died. And the one in the middle is a memorial to those who tried to rescue the hostages from Iran in 1980. So it's good people along that can remember 1980. Now, that large cross there, it's the Canadian Cross of Sacrifice. In the 2 World Wars, there were a number of guys in the U.S. They wanted to fight in those wars, but we were neutral at the time. So they crossed the border and joined Canadian forces, and Canada presented that to us in their honor. That large trailer going by now, it's got the book in front of it there. There's 140 of these memorial trees we have out here. That one's in memory of war correspondents that died reporting from the battlefield. Now, when you're back at the changing of the guard, you know you had the big circular building there with the arches? That was the Memorial Amphitheater. We're going to go down the passenger side, the original amphitheater that we had out there. You'll see there in just a second. Because back then, Memorial Day was called Decoration Day. You're supposed to decorate the graves of your fallen family members. And there's plenty of those after the Civil War. You just find the guy dead on the battlefield. You know, what do you do? Just past the amphitheater here, on the passenger side, they're behind the shrubs that you'll see. There'll be a rectangular granite structure. Actually, it used to be Mrs. Custis's rose garden. They put that there purposely to dissuade them from returning. It's right there, a Tomb of the Civil War on Jones. Looking the way this landed when it was a plantation. Northern Virginia is pretty heavily forested. Lumber was one of the cash crops here. They'd also sell livestock. And grains, wheat, rye, corn. But that kind of dense forestation, that's the complete opposite of the way battlefields would look after battles in World War I. But if you look by President Kennedy's gravesite, he was the 2nd president in the U.S. to be buried here. We're on the way now to the grave of the 1st. It's William Howard Taft, 27th president of the United States, who was later appointed 10th Chief Justice of the U.S. Supreme Court. So he was the only guy in history to hold both jobs, and he liked the 2nd job better. And he and his wife Nellie established a couple of long-standing traditions. Taft was at a baseball game in 1910. Somebody threw him a baseball. He threw it back to the pitcher. That established the tradition of the president throwing out the first pitch of the season. Then 11, amongst a number of the astronauts. But take it to him. What is it supposed to do? Why do you guys come out to see it? What's the meaning of Arlington Cemetery? Why did the people who are buried here do what they did?
It's just like the real one.
I know. And ink hadn't wore off this morning.
Thank you, dear.
Wow, thanks very much. You guys did a great job, too. Looks just like the real one.
So I guess our tour of Arlington Cemetery is over.
Everyone seems to be enjoying the cherry blossoms. Gorgeous. There's a little boy up there taking hands full of petals and putting on his sister. I guess it's his sister's head. The Washington, D.C. cherry blossom history begins with a gift of 3,020 cherry trees from Japan to the United States in 1912, symbolizing friendship between the 2 nations. These trees were planted around the tidal basin and have become a beloved symbol of spring in the nation's capital. The tradition of celebrating the cherry blossoms led to the establishment of the National Cherry Blossom Festival in 1935. Fortunate for us, the cherry blossoms were about 11 days later than usual, so we got to see them in full bloom. That was a total treat for us. We were not expecting it. And I believe I read somewhere that in 1910, Japan initially gifted 2,000 cherry trees, but they were found to be infested and destroyed. Another fun fact, in 1981, cuttings from the original trees in D.C. were given to Japan to replace cherry trees destroyed by a flood, completing a cycle of giving. It is planned in 2026 for the Japanese embassy to donate 250 new trees to commemorate America's 250th birthday. The story of George
Washington throwing a silver dollar, so you were correct in that it being silver, not paper. across the Potomac River is a myth, likely rooted in a tale of him throwing a piece of slate across the narrower Rappahannock River near his childhood home. The popular story claims George Washington, in a display of strength, threw a silver dollar across the Potomac River. The Potomac River is over a mile wide at Mount Vernon, which would make such a feat physically impossible. The silver dollar was minted in 1794 after Washington's presidency. A more plausible story, according to Washington's step-grandson, George Washington Parke Custis, involves him throwing a piece of slate across the river, which is much narrower.
George Washington chopping down a cherry tree is a myth.
Popularized by Mason Locke Weems.
And we was taught that in school.
It is not a historical fact. George Washington's dentures were not made of wood, as is commonly believed, but rather contained a mix of ivory, lead, brass, silver, gold, and human and animal teeth.
Yeah, cow's teeth.
Okay. The materials, the ivory was possibly from hippopotamus, walrus, and elephant. Teeth, human, cow, and horse teeth. The metals were, that's what what I'm reading says. I don't know how much truth there is to this. Metals. True, Marianne, true. Metals is lead, brass, silver, and gold. And there may have been some tiny wood pegs involved. Dr. John Baker was the first dentist to fashion false teeth for Washington. Now you know more than you cared to know about George Washington's dental history.
Of the cherry blossoms.
Wow, that would be beautiful to be out on the water and seeing the cherry blossoms all around the water.
3,000 cherry blossom trees brought back from Japan by the First Lady, Nellie Taft.
The tradition of celebrating the blooming of cherry trees in Japan is centuries old. The planting of cherry trees in Washington, D.C. originated in 1912 as a gift of friendship of the people of the United States from the people of Japan. In Japan, the flowering cherry tree, or sakura, is an important flowering plant. There's some pink and some white. There's definitely a lot going on in this town. Oh, look at the tulips.
Oh. Now those are different colors.
And that's the Jefferson Memorial, where the money is printed and the coins are printed. Sorry we ate without you. So today I brought Mom's leftovers and I brought me some pork chop. Genitals should not have scars. Circumcision is a lifelong injury. Circumcision damage is permanent. I think we're going to go in the National Museum of Natural History first. Ornate the staircase and railing is. I think the stairs are made out of marble. How do we get in line?
You have
just wait for an opening, I guess.
Yeah.
There's the Hope Diamond. You are looking at one of the world's most famous gems, renowned for its flawless clarity, rare deep blue color, and eventually. It is surrounded by 16 white diamonds and suspended from a platinum chain bearing 46 more diamonds. Someone else want my spot? Whitney Flame Topaz. From the legendary topaz mines from Brazil. Aquamarine. Mineral, crystal, or gem. Okay, we got topaz and then golden topaz. Crystals to gems. How does a crystal become a gem? Lights out, recovering our night sky. Torches. Oil lamps. Gas lamps. Electric lamps. Lighting today. Sorry, we are rushing through. We were supposed to have 4 hours and it's cut down to 2. Insects. Migratory birds. Bats. Oh, neat. There's some bats from the ceiling. Also known as sea cows.
Yes,
That is a gorgeous building. Not sure what it's housing, but it's gorgeous. Petrified wood. What does it feel like when you touch it? Does it feel kind of like glass or
just rock?
Rock. Oh, it feels like a rock. Oh, look at the birds. Petrified wood. I wonder if they've left to go there yet. Bottom of that tree.
It looks sort of like a cypress tree.
I don't know.
Leaves. Yeah, but they're around water. But can you walk in?
So we don't know what this building is, but we're heading to it just because it's pretty. So we've got the Capitol building there and then Washington National Monument there. So it said that that building was a castle, but it is closed. So we are going to walk down to the Washington Monument. This building is so ornate. I just enjoy looking at it.
Smithsonian Institution building, the castle. It was completed in 1855 and it is their signature building. The castle closed February 1st of 2023 for its first major renovation in more than 50 years.
Oh, there's where we were a little while ago at the National History Museum. Now on to the National Monument, the Washington Monument.
Brothers flew their first plane.
Oh yeah, You need to take a kite. We're getting a little closer. Look at all the kites out next to the monument. Don't know if it shows in the frame. I think someone said they stopped counting at 28 when they were counting the buses at Arlington Cemetary today. I imagine they don't always have this kind of trash. I think it's just because of the Cherry Blossom Festival. But you know, they know that this is going to happen every year. We're getting closer. You said it was closed for turf restoration?
Yes. They're over there, that sign.
Plane going by the Washington Monument.
First in war, first in peace, first in the hearts of his countrymen. The 555-foot marble obelisk towers over Washington, D.C., built to honor George Washington, the United States' first president.
Washington National Monument. And it's my understanding they did not use any mortar to hold it together. It's just gravity and friction. That's a marvel that they were able to do that.
It took 36 years to complete, with construction spanning from 1848 to 1884. Construction initially began privately but faced funding issues and a pause before being resumed and completed by the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. The stone structure itself was finished in 1884, with the knoll and memorial stones completed in 1888.
So I think we have decided to go see what this building is and then maybe check out one of the art museums. It was worth coming down here just for those beautiful flowers. Trying to pick the perfect one. Which one are you going to choose?
Just in case you can't see it, I was talking about the bee. There's a bee buzzing around each of the flowers.
National Museum of History. Every man is a valuable member of society who, by his observations, researches, and experiments, procures knowledge for men. Clara Barton's ambulance. This ambulance is one of 11 vehicles purchased in 1898 by the Central Cuban Relief Committee of New York for use by Clara Barton and the American National Red Cross. Let's see. There, in case you want to read more. There's other people wanting up here. The Star Spangled Banner, the flag that inspired the national anthem. The floor is pretty. We build the nation together. We have dreams of America, the nation of opportunity, the land of promise. We work to move and struggle to realize our dreams. We build, we build, we rebuild. We succeed, we fail. We agree, we disagree. We change, we learn. We make the United States together. I don't know if you can see through there or not. 1765.
1765.
Oh, it went off. The fine china ware of the newest fashion, imported from London in the last ship.
That's the family.
That's pretty. Is that a marble glass top?
Look at the lamp, that's pretty.
Yeah, it is. Look at that quilt. Amazing artwork. Look at the craftsmanship that went into that.
It's a cradle quilt.
But they didn't have things like YouTube and movies and TV to occupy their time with. And remember, my great-grandmother had a huge quilting loom in her living room, and they would pull it down from the ceiling, and then when people would come over, they would raise it up. Soak overnight, boil white linens and cotton, rinse again with bluing powder, dip in starch, and hang to dry. Banded iron ore. That is so cool. Well, we've made it to the Doubletree Dulles Airport for dinner buffet and entertainment. I am going to have to change the music out so that I don't get copyright infringements. We're back in the room and need to pack up. I got 15,170 steps. We are leaving this part of Virginia tomorrow, but before we start going south, I think we're going to go to the Woodrow Wilson Presidential Memorial tomorrow. But anyways, thanks for watching and hope you have an amazing rest of your day. Bye.